Whoa. Good morning. This is Paula from the Giodone Library, and this is Paula's Picks. Today I'm going to read you some Christmas books. The first one I'd like to read you is called Morris's Disappearing Bag. It's written and illustrated by Rosemary Wells, and you might know Morris. There's a cartoon about him, Morris and his sister, but this is an older book about his disappearing bag. It was Christmas morning. Wow, said Morris. Morris's brother Victor got a hockey outfit. Morris's sister Rose got a beauty kit. Morris's other sister Betty got a chemistry set. And Morris got a bear. All Christmas Day, Victor played hockey, and Rose made herself beautiful, and Betty mixed acids. Then Betty made herself beautiful, and Victor sorted test tubes, and Rose played left wing. And then Victor made himself beautiful, and Betty played goalie, and Rose invented a new gas. Morris was too young to play with chemicals, said Betty. He might blow up the house. He was too little to play hockey, said Victor. He might get hurt. And he's too silly to use the beauty kit, said Rose. He would waste all the lipstick. Nobody wanted Morris's bear. Come, said Morris's mother. Let's make a hat for your bear. No, said Morris. Let's take your bear for a walk, suggested Morris's father. No, said Morris. Morris wouldn't eat his dinner. What's the matter with Morris? Asked his father. I think he hit himself with a hockey puck, said Victor. Maybe he ate all the lipstick, said Rose. It was the gas, said Betty. He breathed it in. There he is sitting over there, not happy. Morris sat under the Christmas tree. Suddenly, he noticed a package that had been overlooked. He opened it. It was a disappearing bag. Morris crawled right in. Morris, said Victor. Right here, said Morris. Where? Said Victor. Where's Morris? Asked Betty and Rose. Over here, said Morris. But they couldn't find him. Maybe he blew himself up, said Betty. Do you suppose he's so beautiful we wouldn't recognize him? Asked Rose. Dad, shouted Victor. Morris is skating so fast we can't see him. Morris came out of his bag. Where were you? Asked Victor. I was in my disappearing bag, said Morris. I want to use it, shouted Victor. Me first, said Rose. You can use my chemicals, said Betty. Morris held open his bag. Everybody disappeared at once. Then he zoomed and mixed and beautified until bedtime. Bedtime, said Morris. May I use the bag tomorrow? Asked Rose. I want to sleep in it tonight, said Betty. Morris, said Victor, I hope you remembered where you put that bag. But Morris was already fast asleep. That is such a cute book. Now let me read you a book that has a bunch of Australian animals in. It is called Wombat Divine. It's written by Mem Fox and illustrated by Carrie Argent. Wombat Divine. It was the week before Christmas. Wombat loved Christmas. He loved the carols and the candles, the presents and the pudding, but most of all, he loved the nativity play. For as long as he could remember, Wombat had wanted to be in the nativity. Now at last he was old enough to take part. So with his heart full of hope and his head full of dreams, he hurried along to the auditions. His friends were already there. Emu was bossing and fussing as usual. Now let's get started, she said. Who'd like to be the Archangel Gabriel? I would, said Wombat. But he was too heavy to play the Archangel Gabriel. Bilby was chosen instead. Bilby patted Wombat on the back. Never mind, Wombat, don't lose heart. Why not try out for a different part? What a good idea, said Emu. Now who would like to be Mary? I would, said Wombat. But he was too big to be Mary. Numbat was chosen instead. Numbat stroked Wombat's nose. There, Wombat, don't lose heart. Why not try out for a different part? Right, said Emu. Now, who would like to be one of the three kings? I would, said Wombat. But he was too short to be a king. The kangaroos were chosen instead. The kangaroos put their arms around Wombat. Cheer up, Wombat. Don't lose heart. Why not try out for a different part? Wombat tried everything. He wanted to be Joseph. But he was too sleepy. He wanted to be the innkeeper, but he was too clumsy. He wanted to be one of the shepherds, but he was too short-sighted. And then there were no parts left. Wombat hung his head and hoped he wouldn't cry. Suddenly, Bilby leaped into the air. I know, he shouted. You can be the baby Jesus. Could I? Asked Wombat. Could I really? Of course you could, Wombat, said Emu. Fancy my forgetting such an important part. A nativity without the baby Jesus is no nativity at all. Wombat was dizzy with pride. Christmas Eve arrived at last. Everyone was nervous except Wombat. He lay quiet and still throughout the whole performance. He even fell asleep, just as a real baby would. On Christmas Day, when everyone was opening presents and eating pudding, they all agreed it had been the best nativity ever. You were divine, said Emu. And Wombat beamed. That's a great one. Great old one. Now let me read you about The Last Christmas Tree. It's written by Stephen Krensky and illustrated by Pascal Campion. The Last Christmas Tree. This is so pretty. Almost exactly a month before Christmas, the trees arrived for the holiday. On the day before, the lot had been empty. Now it was full to bursting. The difference was almost like magic. There were balsam firs, spruces, and pines, and all lined up neatly at a slight tilt. In the middle of one row, wedged between two bushier companions, one particular tree trembled with excitement. There it is, that tree, this little one. It was not very tall, and in truth, a bit hunched over, not to mention the branches that were missing here and there. Still, no tree was more filled with the spirit of the season. Surely everyone would see that at once. The little tree could hardly wait to get picked. What a moment that would be! It imagined itself covered with lights and ornaments, with presents tucked in snugly underneath. The other trees didn't seem to care about who picked them out or how long it took, but the little tree kept its hopes high. It wanted something special, someone who was as excited about Christmas as it was. As the days passed, the trees were sold one by one. A few people made up their minds in an instant. They knew what they wanted, and that was that. Others went back and forth for what seemed like hours, and sometimes it was. One family pulled out the little tree for a closer look, but they were laughing meanly and shaking their heads the whole time. The little tree was secretly glad when they left it behind. There they are being mean to him. As time went on, the remaining trees were spread out, the better to show themselves off. No longer hemmed in, the little tree tried to stand up straight and puff itself out as much as possible. But nobody seemed to notice. The lot got emptier and emptier. The few unsold trees found their prices marked down again and again and again and again. On Christmas Eve, the little tree looked to the left and looked to the right. It was all alone. A sign was hung on it in big letters. It is free. It wasn't an ornament, not really, but the tree chose to think otherwise. The night was cold and clear, and the little tree got rather sleepy. But before dawn, it thought it heard a jingling sound, but it was hard to be sure. Jingle, 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 jingle. The next thing the tree knew, it was gently picked up and placed in an empty sack. This wasn't what the tree expected at all. Then the earth fell away. Far below, the other trees were covered in all their finery. The little tree had no idea where it was going or how long the journey would take. But when it arrived at last, the little Christmas tree was finally home. Did you guess Santa would pick him? I didn't. But that is a sweet story. That little Christmas tree was picked by Santa. Let me read you about another Christmas tree, Maple and Willows Christmas Tree. It is written and illustrated by Lori Nichols. Lori Nichols. Maple and Willow's Christmas Tree. Maple and Willow loved winter. See that good? Winter brought snow and also Christmas. Getting ready for Christmas was hard work. Maple and Willow didn't mind at all. This year, Maple and Willow were getting a real Christmas tree. Choosing the right tree was the hardest work at all. Ote ibbe, ote alsme. But when the work was done, the girls were convinced their Christmas tree was the best Christmas tree in the whole wide world. The tree just fit inside their door. It's perfect, said Willow. I'm so glad we got rid of our fake tree, and it's my year to put the star on top. You look like Rudolph, said Willow. Why is your nose so red? Achoo! Uh-oh. Maple sneezed all afternoon. Oh, no. Maybe you are allergic to the Christmas tree, Willow said. I hope not, said Maple. But when the girls went outside to play, Maple stopped sneezing. Back inside the house, Maple's sneezing started all over again. She really was allergic to the Christmas tree, so the tree couldn't stay inside. At least we have an outside tree, said Maple. I wish you weren't allergic to Christmas, said Willow. I'm not allergic to Christmas, said Maple. Just Christmas trees. While getting ready for bed, Maple said, Willow, I'm sorry I ruined Christmas. I'm sorry you ruined Christmas too, said Willow. That night, Willow couldn't fall asleep. Willow felt sad about the Christmas tree. She felt even worse for hurting Maple's feelings. But Willow got an idea. Getting ready for her idea was hard work. Willow didn't mind. What's she doing? When all the work was done, Willow decided to wake up Maple and show her her big surprise. And there, in the living room, stood the best Christmas tree ladder in the whole wide world. Look at how pretty. It's perfect, said Maple. I know, said Willow, and she handed Maple the star to put on top. And there it is. All right, I have one last one. Oh, I love this book. It is called Christmas Cricket. It is written by Eve Bunting and illustrated by Timothy Bush. It's an older book too. Christmas Cricket. Yeah, let me get to the front page. Oh, now I passed it. There we go. It was cold in the garden. Cricket felt small and worthless in the bigness of the night. Do you see him? He's right there. Tiny little cricket. He hopped up steps under a door. And into a kitchen. He jumped across something cold as frozen snow. The kitchen floor, I think. Skidded across somewhere, slippery as pond ice, and onto a place soft and fresh as grass. Ooh, in someone's house. Cricket hopped around and into and out of things and over to a tall tree with stars clinging to it. He jumped onto a low branch, hid himself, and began a song. chirping, huh? Dad, I thought I heard an angel sing, a small voice said, so close that it scared Cricket into silence. What should he do? He must not be found. Should he jump? Should he try to get away? Should he stay hidden? I thought I heard singing too. This was a bigger voice. A finger gently swung his branch. What was happening? Cricket felt dizzy. He held on tight. Around him, everything swayed and chimed. The swinging stopped. Did you know that angels sing in the song of birds and frogs and people and crickets? The big voice asked. A voice so gentle that it calmed Cricket's pounding heart. I didn't know that, the little voice said. Angels sing in the voice of crickets? Cricket didn't know that either. He was small then, but not worthless. What a great discovery. Shall we sing with the angel? The big voice asked. Yes, please. Together, the two sang Joy to the World. And in his hiding place, Cricket rubbed his wings one against the other for his own joy. And sang and sang. And sang. Yeah. All right, so now I have foil trees for you to make. Let me show you a couple that I made. Pretty cool, huh? They're actually a lot of fun. What you need is like thin cardboard, a cereal box. I used a hot chocolate box. It's just that thin cardboard, or if you have cardstock too, that works. And then you want to cut a triangle out of that. So you need scissors. I cut that out. And then you need foil, of course. It's a foil Christmas tree. So we need foil. Take your cardboard that you cut out and then wrap the foil around it. And you don't need glue. All you need to do is wrap, press, wrap, and then wrap this one up. And you might end up with things sticking out. That's okay, because you can pull it over, pull that one over, and there you have the foil wrapped cardboard that you cut out. So see, you don't even need glue. Then you get to decorate it. So on this one, what I used was washi tape for the garland and then used a bunch of little sequences glued on. This one, I used the washi tape again for the garland, and this time I put buttons all over it. And there was a button that was in the shape of it was a flower, but it looked like a star. So I made that one. Then I did a pom-pom one. So you can use anything that's in your home. If you don't have buttons, maybe you have beads. If you don't have washi tape, maybe you can use ribbon or yarn or sequences, or you can cut out your own little decorations with out of cardboard, or not cardboard, out of construction paper, something like so. Anything that's in your house. And of course, the last thing you need that's on my tree is a popsicle stick to make the trunk of the tree. And you can make as many of these as the material as you have. They come out really good. So there's the foil wrapped Christmas tree. And thank you for joining me today. Next Monday, we will have my STEAM stories. So you guys have a good day. Thanks.